Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to make my contribution to the 2017-2018 budget address and estimates presented by the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance. Madam Speaker, I captioned my presentation at last. The rooster came home to roost. Soon in my presentation, Madam Speaker, you will understand and appreciate why I selected that caption. Members of the government side, Madam Speaker, particularly the Minister for Trade, Energy and Employment, Honorable Ian Douglas, must have listened to and read a different presentation to the one I received from the Minister of Finance last week, Thursday. For, had they taken the time to analyze the presentation, they would have recognized the open admission by the Prime Minister that his government style of governance, model, development policies and strategies over the last 17 years have been a dismal failure. Therefore, it is time for change. Madam Speaker, the United Workers' Party have been pointing out these issues for the past 17 years, particularly the last 8 years. This admission on the part of the Prime Minister is captured in the following samples of statements extracted from pages 3 to 5 of the budget address. The Prime Minister acknowledged that there is need to shift from the role of central government and fully empower ordinary citizens to make more of the choices to determine their future. For years, we have been calling on this administration to adopt a strategy of advanced economic growth and employment instead of their path of dependency and handouts. Another quote, the state must be a facilitator and regulator, not a developer. The United Workers' Party consistently called on government to facilitate the private sector in the delivery of housing and jobs. We were ignored, as evident by the Housing Revolution project, where government is the one providing housing, and the National Employment Program, now the main source of employment in Dominica. Another quote, Dominica's best minds return only to visit elderly relatives, not a place they choose to live, work, and grow. We advocated, Madam Speaker, sorry? Madam Speaker, given the time limitations, I said between pages 3 and 5. That's why I'm taking the quotes. Because I only have 30 minutes, I cannot go and identify every item, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we advocated inclusion of the diaspora in the development process through consultation and constructive engagement. But the Dominica Labour Party only considers the less fortunate in the diaspora during general elections, giving them tickets to come down to vote. Another quote, there is need to maximize use of public resources. Madam Speaker, we urged adherence to existing procurement legislation and elimination of corruption in governance. We saw the construction of the Roseau Bridge, $18 million. Every expert says this bridge should not have cost more than $12 million. $6 billion could go towards health, education, garbage collection. Another quote, Madam Speaker, realization of modern, prosperous Dominica will require a different model of governance. Governance that is more consultative, adopt international best practices, and expose itself to independent expert scrutiny. We long recognize this malice in government, Madam Speaker. Hence a call for transparency and accountability in the management of the CBI program, passport sales program. We call for an end of victimization and nepotism. The victims, including me, are many. We demanded electoral reform to facilitate free and fair elections. After 15 years, we are still waiting. We advise against marginalization of professionals in the public service. Example, stop the sidelining of social welfare professionals in the administration of the social welfare program, such as the Red Clinic. We ask them to stop the bashing of patriots such as Reverend Dr. Wati, Gabriel Christian, to name a few.
Just 1 minute. The calling of names like this is not on, eh? I'm so honored and privileged.
The Prime Minister, Dr. has finally accepted the diagnosis of Team Dominica as the causes currently settling shifting Dominica's development. He knows it is time for change. However, this prescription will not cure in any sustainable way the many associated economic, social, and environmental damage brought on all. It was not off. Well, put it back on a while ago. Social environmental damage brought on the nature island as a result of its governance prolonged refusal to accept that it remained too long in the wrong path of development. However, we are pleased, Madam Speaker, at last, he has accepted the mistake. I will now highlight some inadequacies in the prescription presented by the Prime Minister to make Dominica the best place to live, to work, and enjoy life. The aim of Team Dominica, the United Workers' Party, framed by the Honorable Lennox Linton, now paraphrased by the Prime Minister in his budget theme, realizing a modern, prosperous Dominica. At the same time, I will propose preferred feasible alternatives, Madam Speaker. Policy formulation and review. I'm not here, you all have been speaking about projects done. Let us speak to the policy and the budget presented, approach to the budget. Propose fiscal advisory panel. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister is proposing a fiscal advisory panel. What happened to the advisory panel that was established after Erica, post-Erica? We were told that an advisory panel would be advising the government. Where is the report? What has happened? Madam Speaker, a country with a population of 70,138, it is here in the estimates, has the largest cabinet in the OECS. A coastal load of political appointees referred to as advisors. A pool of highly trained and skilled permanent secretaries, chief technical officers. Almost everyone of them either have a first degree, a second degree, or a PhD. Many reports, technical reports, sitting on the shelves. Now they are telling us that they need a panel of advisors to run a country of 71,000 people. Madam Speaker, the problem is not lack of good advice, but incompetence coupled with the lack of will to take decisions in the public interest. That's the problem we face here, not the lack of good advice. The government places its narrow partisan political agenda over the national development priorities, Madam Speaker. In other words, this administration is obsessed with winning and at the expense of Dominica gaining. Madam Speaker, a very constructive and instructive quote from page 35 of the Prime Minister's address, and states, "We envisage a series of staggered terms of the three experts in order to allow for a mix of fresh and continuous, my emphasis, thinking, with a maximum appointment of a non-renewable 5-year term." Madam Speaker, I endorse this message. I now call on the Dominican electorate to apply the same standard to the Prime Minister and his administration. What is good for the gander is good for the goose. The Prime Minister is admitting on no uncertain terms that his government is tired and void of fresh ideas. They are in office for too long. It is time for them to go. It is time for change. Financing, Madam Speaker. How does the government intend to finance its new approach to development, Madam Speaker? The Honourable Leader of the Opposition paid sufficient attention to the idea and the approach. Sale of our passports, a cherished asset of sovereignty. We have already exposed and shown that this is not sustainable. The World Bank agrees with us. The IMF agrees with us, Madam Speaker. But what is most disturbing, the Prime Minister says that they'll be issuing or there is suggestion to issue the issue of tax identification numbers to non-resident CIB passport holders, those Dominican passport holders who never set foot in Dominica. We will await the details of this proposal. However, Madam Speaker, we would like to caution against any intention to amend our electoral laws to make it possible for these people to vote against the residency requirements of the country, Madam Speaker. We will be sitting and waiting, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are saying that we need a more revolutionary approach to the development of this country. We call for bold initiatives in economic sectors, modernize the fishing industry. We appreciate the fact that, yes, you give a couple boats here and there, Castle Bruce, for example. We appreciate that. It is good. But by now, you should have at least 3 fleets of trawlers in the free fishing complexes so that people can go out there for a week or so and fish, Madam Speaker. Green the economy. Let us hear the policies for greening the economy in this time of climate change. Restore the banana export industry to pre-Black Sigatoka levels. Maximize linkages between agriculture and tourism. And the list can go on and on. Time will not allow me to detail that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what are the pillar projects that will sustain this new development model? They are just rehashing the same projects, Madam Speaker. Projects you have heard for years upon years upon years, Madam Speaker. Geothermal energy. To save face, this continuation of this project is basically to save face. And I support the leader of the opposition, United Workers' Party position, that we will suspend development of this project and will give you reason why, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Dominica Labour Party, this administration, suspended work on the international airport, and they dumped over $250 million at Melville Hall, and they are still putting there against searching for night landing. Now it's dust landing. Madam Speaker, when this government came into office, they made under construction a stadium. They dug it up, the foundation, dumped $20 million in the ocean. Instead of taking the project or asking the Chinese, can you redevelop the design to take in consideration what is there? It is still there. Or put the stadium elsewhere, say in Portsmouth, it is there, Madam Speaker. When this government came into office, they made detailed proposals for the rehabilitation of Roseau Road Reinstatement Project, Madam Speaker. The Kuwaitis came into Dominica. We did the presentation. I was one of the consultants. They're checked in their back pocket, ready to give over $45 million for Roseau Road rehabilitation. Instead, the government chose to build a palace. They got $30 million plus to build a palace instead of refurbishing Roseau, Madam Speaker. Now we tell you we can suspend. Madam Speaker, every expert is saying to you that the geothermal project in the valley is not sustainable. Why? I'll tell you why. One, the depth of the wells, they said it is too deep. So therefore, maintenance of the plant there'll be a lot of corrosion. Madam Speaker, the project that was said would be giving us some 60 megawatts of electricity to sell to France. The minister, who is now Minister of National Security, even told us it would have cost us 10 cents per kilowatt. And right now, today, they cannot get one private sector to buy into the project, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the fact that these international agencies are giving you money for it, it is not justification for the project, because it is just a PR for them. We are in the age of renewable energy. So therefore, when they give you a 20, 15 million, it's PR for them, because they want to give, they tell you they give small island developing states, but the billions are going to the other countries, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, we are telling you, the experts have advised, and we believe it and we accept it, that Dominica can get renewable energy self-sufficiency within 3 years if you concentrate on hydro, solar, and wind, coupled with more efficiency in the system and in individual homes in terms of retrofitting, etc. In fact, the statistics will show that comparable with geothermal, you have hydro cost you 60% less, wind 55% less, and solar 55% less. We are now putting down a system, Madam Speaker, based on the costings that they gave us. Based on the costings that they gave us, Madam Speaker, it's going to cost us $32 million per megawatt of electricity on that geothermal plant. I'll work it out for you. $50 million so far in exploration. $108 million plan that you say you have available in hand. Based on the incompetency of your government, we expect a 50% increase in this cost of the project cost. This will be averaging over $32 million per megawatt of electricity. And you tell me this is efficient? You tell me this is efficient, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, we have given you the figures, and we are saying to take a different approach. But most importantly, just on the side, Madam Speaker, this government is going to spend some $5 million estimated to light up highways, more particularly the highway between Dr. Nicholas Liverpool Highway. Madam Speaker, it was so disappointing to hear the Minister of Carnival Affairs standing there and supporting this project without recognizing that in the rural areas where the people live, the dirt surface tracks, the dirt surface footpaths they have to use to go to their home, it's all dark. They can't send their children out there after dark. Why don't you give priority to lighting up these paths and highways in the rural areas? And after that, you can then talk about lighting up highways where the traffic on those highways after 7 o'clock is less than 20 vehicles per hour. You check it, less than 20 vehicles per hour. And you're putting solar lights at 50 feet intervals, when you could have put the solar lights at every 300 yards or so, and use the solar lights in the communities so that the people, their quality of life can be improved. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to now speak to housing and urban renewal. Madam Speaker, the housing revolution right now being done by the government, it is unsustainable. In fact, I will remind the Minister of Housing the statement in the policy statement that in the policy statement issued and prepared by the government. Government's role in shelter should be a facilitator rather than a provider. And I'll go further to read. Government's participation in shelter tends to be too heavy on the delivery side and light on the facilitation side. This limits the range of capital sources that could contribute to shelter development. This is the policy. So for you to implement a policy like this year, which you yourself told the bank, told the world you're going to pursue, you need to pay attention to areas like this. The private sector, for example, put in the infrastructure and facilitate those with lands in the rural areas to develop those lands. Look at your policy with respect to the cost of land transfer. Facilitate the transfer of family lands in the rural areas. A lot of family lands tied in. It's costly to get titles. Facilitate them in getting titles so that they can access housing that way. Provide special incentives to the lenders, the banks, the credit unions, so that they can get tax credit, so they can reduce interest rate. Pay attention to your rental housing sector, because there are a lot of single families are looking to improve their quality of housing, but they can't do it because the investors will not invest because of the high interest rate. This is how you facilitate the private sector. Not coming here and just boasting how many houses are built. Your own policy your policy said you should not be doing that. You should be facilitating the private sector, Madam Speaker. In the area of urban renewal, Madam Speaker, I've indicated already that we, United Workers' Party, put on the agenda the condition of Roseau. Right now, the government is telling us they're going to rehabilitate three streets per annum. It will take you over 15 years to rehabilitate Roseau. Over 15 years. The cruise tourism sector people, they pulled out because of the condition of Roseau. And now you're telling me you're going to do 3 streets per year? Per year? Come on. Recognize that Roseau is very important to attracting capital investment, foreign investment in the country, and pay urgent attention to it, Madam Speaker. Get access. Yeah, access, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the government had a good opportunity to start a new town with the college, the state college, this complex, this sports complex at the Warner Flats. An opportunity. Instead, you're congesting stock farm, going a dead-end road and putting all these facilities, traffic problems, emergency issues. lack of planning, lack of consultation. These are the issues, Madam Speaker. That is how you're going to get to a modern Dominica, not this piecemeal approach you're taking to the development of the country, Madam Speaker. Air access. Air access, now we are talking about $5 million per annum, US dollars per annum in a special fund, 60 million, 100 per month, sorry, yeah, 60 million US, yeah, 60 million US, 160 million EC per annum. Madam Speaker, a couple months before the 2014 elections, there was a news item, $1.3 billion for MOU signed for an airport, new airport and hotels in Dominica. Prime Minister, fake news. Fake news. Even the Chinese in the government of China had to put out a disclaimer. Fake news. Now you're telling us that you are going to use CBI money that is dipping. Look at the statistics given to us by the Prime Minister at the last sitting of the House. You consider the drop. And now, given the situation, international community, you expect it to drop. The World Bank, the IMF tells you that it's not sustainable. And then this is how you're going to build an international airport. Elections coming. You won't even tell us where you're going to build that international airport. It's top secret. Madam Speaker, we will pursue, the United Workers' Party will pursue the program for international airport development as detailed in our manifesto, 2014 party manifesto. In the meantime, we advise the government to improve air access. What you need to do, north and south of Dominica, there are 13 international airports. You need to facilitate, not government owning it, but facilitate the establishment of an airline providing express service, not to compete with Fliat, express service between Dominica and these international airports. But that's what you have to do. And then you can transform that into an international airport. This is the air access until such time the United Workers' Party builds an international airport, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Speaker, I know my time is very limited. What time I have, Madam Speaker, left? Sorry? About how much time do I have left? 20 more minutes. About 20 minutes? 7 months. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Castlebrooks constituency is blessed in this House in that it has two persons or two representatives who can speak on behalf. So I am going to identify some issues in the Castlebrooks constituency because I know the parliamentary representative, Honorable Johnson Drago, has a tendency to talk about what he has done rather than what this constituency needs. So, Madam Speaker, we know, I've seen that in the budget, there's $1 million put aside for Washmac. Eventually, after 11 years, a spend of some $12 million to build 2.5 miles of road. We say thank you. However, we want to assure the people of Pittsburgh, we will build a bypass and a road into Pittsburgh coming from Newfoundland Estate to open up lands for agriculture and housing in these areas. This was the preferred option. Madam Speaker, in the constituency, we need signage. You're driving on the Castlebrooks Road from Tarish Pit down to Castlebrooks. Bridges without railings, areas subsiding, no signage, cautioning the tourists, etc. Recently, I had to assist, well, the member for the Caldoga territory can say that. We had to assist a foreigner. This vehicle was sitting right on the path, right on the sidewalk, on the bridge, on the Livier Law Bridge. And we came and touched it. This is the situation. We need to pay attention to these issues, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Lauren Barnes Roberts, who is now ambassador, claim to fame in the Castlebrooks constituency was the construction of the Castlebrooks Reunion Hall.
I don't know why you have to call it. Is it necessary to call the person's name?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Well, I don't think it is. You just say what it is.
Madam Speaker, I'll do almost anything for you.
Refrain from calling people's name that way.
Madam Speaker, her name was called until the point where you asked the individual to identify her as ambassador. Now you tell me not to call her name. I'll do almost anything for you.
What I'm telling members is that if you can't call a person's name in a complimentary way, don't call their name because they're not here to defend themselves.
Madam Speaker,
this is what I'm saying.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw it.
Okay? If the person is not there to defend what uncomplimentary you're saying, it's unfair for you to call their name.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw the name. Thank you very much. Yes, Madam Speaker, as I was saying, the Castlebrooks Reunion Hall, built during the reign of the Honorable Lauren Barnes Roberts, was built, I said built during her reign. So, Madam Speaker, this Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I withdraw. I withdraw. So, Madam Speaker, I was saying that this reunion hall is now a threat to public safety in the Castlebrooks constituency because it's now a ruin, but the galvanized are loose on there. And we're in the hurricane season. Next door is a secondary school that might be used as a hurricane shelter. We cannot allow that to continue. I'm calling on the government to please remove the loose galvanized on the reunion hall at Castlebrooks. Madam Speaker, the playing fields, the government, its work, as a result, you had Peter Sophia playing field destroyed, Sansover playing field destroyed with the construction of the primary school. Castlebrooks, right now I see that squatters are coming on the edge of it. I hope the Parliament is aware of that and will stop it. And Good Hope has absolutely no playing field. We hope that this year, 2017, 2018, these issues will be addressed, Madam Speaker. The people of Good Hope Tranto Resource Center, they have been calling for it and asking for it for a very long time.
You have 4 minutes left.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The people of Good Hope, this area was identified as a disaster area after Tropical Storm Erica. We are paying attention to the people of Petit Savannah and others. The people of Good Hope and Sophia needs attention. We need to identify lands for the relocation of those persons whose homes are now hanging on this landslide, Madam Speaker. The Sansover Primary School is in deplorable condition. We need to have that school repaired and attention paid to it, Madam Speaker. Farm access. The Minister of Agriculture is from the constituency. We're hearing all sorts of farm roads and feeder roads being built all over the island, but none in Castlebrooks. Not one in Castlebrooks. Yeah, well, you can repeat that if you want to and quote me. The Jalousie Road, continuation phase 3. Can we see phase 3 completing this financial year? And I could go on and on, Madam Speaker, that the Castlebrooks constituency, particularly Castlebrooks Estate, I see that there is some money allocated for the refurbishment of the irrigation system. The irrigation system in Castlebrooks Estate was built for what, $4 million? Never utilized. Years now it is in such a bad condition. Can we get this place rehabilitated so that Castlebrooks can become the vegetable basket for Dominica, if that happens, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, with the few minutes I have, I'd just like to spend on one area, and that is the question of transportation, roads. My colleague will speak on public works, etc., but roads. Madam Speaker, I would like the government to stop looking at transportation just as culverts, bridges, and concrete. We are in 2017, approaching the second decade of the 21st century. It is time that we start looking at transportation to include transit, public transit. And I'm calling for the government to do a pilot study, a feasibility study, to establish a pilot transit system, public transit system for the east, southeast. Roseau, La Plaine, Kalinago territory. I'm not saying how it will work, the feasibility study will do it. There will be a lot of advantages to these people, inter-settlement travel, in terms of productivity. You find many of the young women, Madam Speaker, getting a job in Roseau. Because the salary is so low, they have to be bombing ride to get back home. But if you have a transit system that serves that area, transportation costs will come down. But most important, it will be reliable, dependable, clean. So I'm not asking to put it throughout the island, but we have to start somewhere. And I'm suggesting that we consider starting that on the east, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would also like to mention the question about we welcome the plan and the proposal to increase the income tax threshold to $30,000 per annum. However, the majority of the persons that we need to assist are actually below that level. They don't pay tax. But their cost of living is still there. We cannot increase the minimum wage. If we do, maybe the employees might complain in this poor economic situation. However, you can adjust. You can pay attention to the cost of living by looking at the size of the food basket, zero rating more items.
You have half a minute left.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Reducing the VAT, etc., on some selected items so that the cost of living can come down for the poor people, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I would like to state that the budget as presented by the Honorable Prime Minister does not speak to the issues, the theme, that they want some more than Dominica. United Workers' Party has been calling on it all the time. But when you read through, it has accepted in the budget that the path of development that this government has pursued over the last 7 years has failed. And therefore, Madam Speaker, it is time for change.